They're like, oh yeah, guy with Pensy Steam comes in every once in a while. They're not really much. Really test the LED in the headlight, but we'll take this at 10. Proceed to 15. Hey everyone, this is Pensy Joe, and today we're going to review one of Broadway's absolute worst runs of the Reading T1 to date. Now, some of you might be wondering, that seems a little bit harsh to say that it's the worst that Broadway has made yet of this run of the Reading T1. And to be honest with you, it pretty much is. There's been a lot of videos and a lot of complaints, especially on the Broadway Limited Collectors Club on Facebook, of owners who are getting these models, right? And the smoke units just get so hot that they melt this boiler, and this smokestack sinks in and melts with it. And, it's just absolutely terrible. And there's like smoke leaking and sometimes causing, electrical problems with the leaking of the fluids, and residue getting out all over the wires inside. And it's just a mess, guys. And all of that, look, the pilot wheels are not painted. Come on, Broadway. Just paint the it's just black. Just like how you made these black. Just make the pilot wheels black. I don't care about these or these on the tender. Just paint these black, will ya? I mean, it's not that, it doesn't cost much. Okay? I mean, yeah, yes, they're shiny, yes, but in real life they're painted black, Broadway. So we're looking at the model right now first. I like the blue map. Got Reading 2102 over here, which is, since I got this model, has been restored to full operation. However, it's got the striping on the wheels and along the side of the locomotive as well, and along the wheels. And the front of this, I believe, is dark gray. I'm not sure if the boiler jacket in the front is also dark gray. I believe it is, but I could be wrong. But at least the front boilerplate, it's a very dark gunmetal gray. So it's slightly off. Slightly off. Does it really bother me that much? Not exactly. I mean, the Reading T1s were always dirty. Not 100% of the time, but usually dirty. There's no text in the front of the locomotive on the banner where this special water pump assembly is. I'm not sure. Let's see. Is the water pumps on the other side? No, the water pumps are in the front of the pilot. Cool. Okay, so I wasn't wrong. I could be wrong. That's okay if that happens. But yeah, this is a 484. This is a pretty nice looking locomotive. Reading had really interesting engines. And before I was going to make a video on, doing TCS WoW, which, by the way, I have to buy the decoder kit first. I might as well do the in-depth review video for this first before I do that, because I won't be able to afterwards. Otherwise, I'm going to be talking about, a skewed version of the review where I just put TCS WoW in it, and it's like, oh, it's better now. So, anywho, yeah, this is one of those really. It's fairly detailed. It's fairly nice. The tender's nicely detailed. It's not the most detailed tender in the world. I mean, the undercarriage of the tender seems pretty standard on Broadway engines, where it just has like this ribbing kind of molded effect on the metal base. And there's a speaker in there, a nice fat round speaker. And you got nice pickups. This is a long tender. I like this tender. This is a nice tender. And you got a backup light. 2102. I don't think the builder's plates are back on here either. There's some coal. There's molded coal, and then there's real coal on top. Interesting, huh? Molded coal right down there, and then real coal. Why not just do the extra mile like your H10 and do like both levels where the coal is showing, Broadway? I don't understand. Anyway, you got your standard 8-pin right here. A lot of Paragon 4s seem to have this problem where some of the wires are kind of stretched on here. And they're showing a little bit of metal, which is kind of oopsies, but I can always pop that back in there. Sorta. I'll have to figure that out later and make sure that it goes back in, that pin. Otherwise, it's not going to get great contact. Uh, Broadway's. Well, I'm not gonna be 100% negative on this. You know, it just happens. Like, you know, tethers are like $10, but it's not broken. Not to say it is yet. The wire seems to be fine. It's just, you know, pins could be placed better than here. And it's not easy to pull these pins out, guys. Just letting you know, just be careful when you pull these pins out, all right? Because already my Dreyfus Hudson's having a little bit of a interesting time with her pins and wires not fraying because of, you know, gotta pull this out somehow, and the plug's not easily to pull out, you know, and it's just not everybody's storage can fit a locomotive and a full tender together, you know, so it's one of the downsides, in my opinion, for Broadway engines is, like, you know, trying to make these better, but it is what it is. Anywho, we're going to look at the box first before we get towards the inside of the locomotive and talk more about the details. Now, the box, if you've seen my other Broadway engines so far in this in-depth review series, they have this similar box. This started in Paragon 4. This happened after the Dreyfus Hudson, these new boxes, and to be honest, I'm not a fan of them. You're spending a lot of money on these models, and the boxes, you know, they used to be very nice, similar to like Ather and Genesis kind of style with the foam and all that stuff with their steam engines. And, you know, it's just, and it's same with MTH when they had their steam engines too. They had a nice foam in there, but look at this. What's behind there is just regular styrofoam, you know, and it's not really foam, and it's got this cube. The cube is fine. I'm okay with the plastic cube to hold the model, but, you know, you could at least have foam around this, you know, just so it can actually compress a bit. So, I mean, it's cool that it's a sleeve, but, you know, some people don't like the original. I mean, to be honest, I haven't heard a lot of negativity about just pulling the cover off. I mean, yeah, because of pressure and, you know, the air pressure inside, you know, and then you have to pull it out, you know, up. It kind of has a suction effect, so it's kind of tough to pull it out because, you know, the amount of gap between the four corners of the box. I know this is different, but like the four corners on the, you know, Paragon 3 and earlier boxes had a little bit of very little gap between, you know, the cover and the actual box itself. So it's just part of physics. And to be honest, I don't know why people were griping about that. I don't think a lot of them were. Maybe one, but like, or two, but it was not a big deal, really, honestly. So, yeah, it's one of those ice cube boxes. The I-1 Pennsylvania Railroad I-1 SAs have the same box as well. I think there's the long tender one, which is pretty much the same size as this box, and a shorter box similar to the not like the E6's box, but similar to this. And these are when they still had that DGLE kind of green color for their boxes still. But then they changed them to white, and I guess they're doing it to save money. I really don't know. I don't know why they went to white. Maybe because Paragon 3 is known for the green box, and they thought, we don't want to be associated with Paragon 3. I don't know. I don't know why they went to white. Maybe somebody might tell me. On the bright side, though, it has I mean, I don't want to pull this entire thing out. If you really want to know what these boxes are like, you know, you can go to the previous videos. It's got foam inside. It's a sleeve instead, and I mean, at least it doesn't come out, but like, because you're gonna be gripping this hard. But look, it's starting to come out. So I'd rather have a box and just hold it like the box like this than having to worry about it one side. But nobody's going to tilt the locomotive one side, and plus it's empty, so that's that. So back to the locomotive. We're going to look at the details on the exterior first, and the details seem pretty fine. I don't know how it does compared to brass models because I don't have the brass models, but you could probably look up and compare it to brass models, and, you know, just pause the video and just do a comparison by yourself, you know, and just check it out, see how it looks. Now, I'm curious about these grate holes for when they do. I don't know if they go all the way through, but it doesn't look like they do, which is kind of unfortunate because I want to do a TCS1. I'm thinking about doing a firebox flicker in here too, because there's no cab lights and there's no classification lights. So I think, you know, why not do that? But we'll see. And it's cool how they have this, like, you know, cover for the firebox too, like the shield. That's kind of cool. I guess to keep it less exposed from rain and whatnot. And this is a semi-streamlined engine. I mean, it's got, like, you know, some really nice, you know, deck over here. It's got a really nice, you know, side deck so that the crew can go in front for whatever reason they needed to do that. And it's not. And it's a really. Some people say this is an ugly engine. It's fine. It looks like a steam engine. You know, it's very rugged and it's industrial looking, and it's got small drivers for 484. But this engine was pretty much dual service. It can do freight and passenger. And since 2102 is restored now, I mean, you can go see her in real life in Pennsylvania. You know, it's one of those unique, cool things. And, you know, it's got, you know, brass pieces. However, I don't know. Some of these might be plastic, actually, which is kind of a downer. This bell can swing, which is cool, but it's not motorized bell swinging. But it's cool that, you know, it can swing. It's something. Everything's pretty much black. There's like just so much black, and of course, you know, you got these slidable roof vents. Sorry, my dog's just barking. He's so excited because there's no music playing. When there's no music playing, which I can't play during a video and when I'm recording, he starts to think he hears things. And the details on this do look pretty good. There's a lot of separately applied detail. I think it's fairly well detailed in my opinion. Behind the wheels, though, it does look kind of sparse. You can't see all the way through for most of this model, which is strange because the gearbox is right here. You don't really need to see what's... I mean, the gearbox is right here, so it makes sense to maybe clear that up. I guess not. This is probably a very old tooling. It's been around since PCM days. When it used to have lock sound. This is one of the engines you can find from the PCM days that had actual lock sound in it, lock sound 4. So if you want to get one of these, I would try and get those first and see if they have any gear problems. If anything, you could probably replace the gears with, or you could place a wheel set with these instead, and there you go. But yeah, this is a Paragon 4 engine. It has a 5-pole motor inside of it, which Broadway says it does, and I hope that's not false advertising. But so far, I've had no issues with any of my Paragon 4 engines, especially after I do TCS WOW conversions. Notably, my Dryfits Hudson runs really well. It doesn't short out, or motor hasn't burnt out or anything, cause, you know, semi-shorts where they happen from time to time because of the poles being bad or whatever, one of the poles being bad or two of the poles. And it's trying to compensate, and it really heats up your decoder. But none of that Paragon 3 nonsense. However, it still has a smoking problem, and to be honest with you, I've not used the smoke unit much on this at all, and I probably will never do that. And in this time, I'm not going to use it because this is not a die-cast boiler locomotive. Even then, this is still not an excuse why the smoke unit should be melting the boiler. There's many manufacturers that are not, you know, Broadway, who've had smoke units in their models, and they had plastic shells, but they don't melt. So it really is a Broadway issue with their smoke units, and I think personally they should ditch the smoke units. So we're gonna flip over to Locomotive. Now this linkage right here is real similar. A lot of locomotives have this brake linkage set up. It's pretty standard, if you ask me. It's a nice detail. Looking at the front of the locomotive, we do have this huge washer in the way, so that's going to be interesting to try and... well, I'm going to have to take this pilot off. There's a hole here, we can screw it, but it's like, well, that kind of stinks. I don't know why it has this huge washer. Yeah, I really don't know why, and the spring's kind of strange looking. It's got like a cone shape, that spring, so I'm curious as to why they did that. Interesting, but nonetheless good. I gotta get this cat hair out. I haven't used this engine in a while, and I used to have a cat around when I got this engine. Same kind of spring over here, but I shouldn't have a problem getting these screws out. So it's only 3 screws to take the shell off of this locomotive, so that's good. That's good. That's really good. I like that. Not too complicated or anything like that. So we're going to take the screws off, and we're going to see what we got inside of here. Hopefully the gearbox is pretty good, but knowing Broadway and proving their drive quality has been good over the years. Let's see, can we... No, that one's not budging that well. There we go. There we go, we got that one. And let's see how this one's going to go. There we go, that one got loose. All right, let's try number 2 and number 4. We're depending on which direction we're supposed to be doing this. I don't really care. Number 1 or number 5. All right, now let's try number 1 or 5 again. I don't want to strip it. There we go. I have to put all my fingers around this. There we go. 1 gearbox cover plate ready to come off. Let's see if we can take this off without losing the screws. And there we are. It seems we have a mix of brass. We got some brass, and we got some steel or metal or some sort of maybe stainless steel or steel bearings. Nice, nice, nice. And we got the gunmetal gray, dark gray gears inside here. That's good. I like that. These are the higher grade quality gears, so that's good to know. And it's definitely well lubricated. That's really good. Good to see that Broadway has this higher standard of quality when it comes to making sure the model is well lubricated when they ship it out. Let me get my screwdriver again. There we go. It's over here. And we're going to screw everything back down. We got 2 traction tires on this model. They're on the rear, closest to the firebox. Personally, I don't really have that much of an issue with Broadway's traction tire thingamabobbers, guys. They don't really bother me. What matters is if the motor's strong enough as well. And that's something to talk about because this locomotive cannot really pull that too much. Especially intermodal train, and this is a mixed traffic engine, so it could wheel slip, which I thought was really interesting. Why it was wheel slipping, I would think there's not enough weight in the boiler, but very heavy locomotive. It's probably around maybe close to 2 pounds, something like that. It should be able to pull. I don't know. Tender is probably like half a pound, somewhere around there. It's not bad. And yeah, it's just something that I noticed. We can start unscrewing the back of the locomotive. We'll unscrew the 2 rear ones. They're always in the rear. Which is good that they only did like that many. Well, I guess that's not going to work. Why would I try that? I'm trying to find a screwdriver. I probably do not have it on me. Really, Broadway? Well, no, I can't use my nail. I'm silly. Anyways, I'll be right back. I gotta go get my tools and the right tool to get this flathead over here, and then we'll continue unscrewing everything. Alrighty, so I got my screwdriver back. Let's get into position. There we go. Well, gee willikers. Let's see if I don't have to. I want to try something. Well, or we can do that. Oh, shush, dog. So we got the screw. Shut up, please. He sees somebody at the door. That means food has arrived, so I'll get in a second. Once we unscrew this, we'll take a break, and then I will open up the locomotive. All 3 screws are done, and I'll see you guys in the next scene where I have the shell of the locomotive off. Alrighty, so when I was opening this up, I started having deja vu. So people are like wondering, like, why are you having deja vu? How this is set up reminds me a lot of 611. There's a LED here. It's a firebox LED. Well, look at that. Very, very interesting. And what's cool about it, right, is that I could use this to do the headlight. However, I don't think I want to do that. This is strange. This is strange how I'm going to do TCS when I do this. But yeah, there's a firebox in here. Firebox. I never saw the firebox light go on when I got this model. That's strange. I would have noticed that. Okay, well, Broadway, I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember this. Probably people are like, oh, you didn't know that? Well, guys, I didn't know. So, yeah, we got a 5-pole motor here. We got a FK185R4 HB3021 motor right here. There it is right there. This is a 5-pole motor, and hopefully this is not the crappy one, but this is part of the, this is what you're going to see most likely in these Broadway engines from now on for right now. Got a nice flywheel here. Nice, big, thick flywheel. Holy shit. It's crazy. And it's got a drilled hole in there too. Well, interesting. It's got a reed switch in here, which is typical for, you know, what you usually see on Lionel locomotives. But yeah, this is pretty simple, guys. Back in here, we got a weights in here. I'm pretty sure this front piece can come off, and there's a smoke unit in there. So I'm pretty sure the smoke unit's connected to this weight that's inside the boiler right here. So this is going to be fun to unscrew and then pull out and then try to put it back in and get the holes to line up and screw in again. So that'll be fun when that comes around. But yeah, this is a really standard Broadway engine. There's nothing difficult about it. It's going to be really simple to do TCS WOW. And this is I would say an easy model. If you have a Paragon 4 version of these, I wouldn't worry about the motor. The motor should be fine. Or anything that's newer than, like, I don't know, don't get the Paragon 3 version of these. You're going to have to get a new motor, 5-pole motor, if you're going to get a Paragon 3. But just to warn you. But, you know, this is a pretty simple model to work on, and it's a really good base to just, you know, do wiring setups. And I love this. It didn't have that on E6, but it had this on most of the other locomotives, like the H10. I'm pretty sure the Decapod's going to have this, and a couple other Broadway engines I've worked on, such as the M1 and all that, and the J. So I like that. Good job. It's nice and easy. So when I do rewiring, I can just look at this and be like, hey, that's how it's done. So stay tuned for that video. And that's pretty much it for the interior. Gearbox tower seems to be pretty good. I'm not too worried about it. We got brass gears. I'm going to try and get this open without having to, like, put down my phone. However, I do see this is screwed, so I don't know how well this is going to come off. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Easy. Alrighty, so we have thrush washers. I see a thrush washer on this side. And I see a thrush washer on the front part. So, thrush washer, it's very small, guys. You'll see it. It's very thin. It's clear. A thrush washer here, thrush washer here. That's good. I'll keep this locomotive from having the worm gear wearing out those bearings. Nice, nice. I like that. The universal joints is plastic. It's just kind of, but I've rarely heard people have a problem with that unless they hold on to the motor or hold on to wheels while the motor's trying to go full throttle. You're gonna strip that plastic. Don't do that, guys. Come on. But that's it, yeah, guys. I had to say the quality of the drive is pretty good. I give it a grade A. You know, it's good. Could it have metal gears? Yeah, but you know, especially at this price point, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be that much more money to put metal gears in here. Maybe a couple bucks more, but like you wouldn't even have to change how much profit you need. You know, it would be nice. It's a premium model, but it is what it is, unfortunately. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I still give it an A. The drivetrain on this model is an A. And then we'll close this model locomotive back up, and we'll take a look inside that tender and see what we got working in there and how much space we actually have to put a TCS decoder in there eventually. Okay, so to get the shell off, you're going to have to really try and pry at the front. Just be careful that it doesn't come flying off, especially right here when you try to pull it from the front end. But yeah, there's some pretty good space in here. I mean, you can fit stuff up here. It's not a die-cast shell, so you don't have to worry about, the coder touching anything metal. Just make sure, you do your wiring right. I got a Paragon 4 decoder right here, which is pretty much a Paragon 3 with just 3 capacitors right here. And taped down. Not a lot of wires going everywhere. Over here, you got LED plus and minus over here, and I do not know what this character is. That is a mess, but that's obviously plus, and that's obviously minus, so doing the rear taillight on this model will not be a problem. And we got the 8 pins here, so simple as that. And then you got these 2 speakers here. These speakers have been around for a long time. I know that the Cave War has a tough time with these speakers in terms of sound quality. It could be the rating on these 8 ohm, I guess, 1 amp. I don't know what the rating on these are, but it might be that the rating might not be that well. Certain speakers do better than others with TCS WOW, but I haven't had a real issue with the newer ones. The older ones I'm probably going to have to replace with regular 1 watt 8 ohm speakers that I got for projects such as DCC models like the FA2s by Bachmann, where you can put a round speaker in there. But yeah, there's a good amount of space. I like how it's got this material in here. It's interesting. It's like a tape. Something that Broadway uses, kind of like this right here. And it's got some foam in here to keep the speakers from rattling around. That's nice. I probably won't mess with those. And that's pretty much it with the tender. It's very simple. There's nothing overly complicated inside the tender. There's no marker lights or anything like that. Really, it's only marker lights, and you just have a lot of space to really work with, your wire length for your decoder and other things that you might need in here, such as when you do your resistor, so you don't blow out the LEDs. But yeah, this is it's pretty simple stuff right here. That's that. And in the next section, we'll have the locomotive turn on. We'll have it move a bit, just so that people can see, you guys see what's going on with the locomotive. And I have to warn you, the model's really loud. I know I can mess with the CVs, but no model should be very loud out of the box. It's unnecessary, to say the least. So, yeah. I'll get you guys to that part, and then we'll talk about my final thoughts about this model and give it a rating. So that was a little bit of the running for a Locomotive. Sound, in terms of sounds, I have to say the sounds are not really that great. The whistle sounds similar to the real thing if you watch the videos of the real 2102. However, it sounds a lot like a Lionel locomotive. You know, it sounds like an early Lionel locomotive, and same with the bell. I mean, the bell's all right, but it can have a better sound quality to it. The chuffing sounds can be better too. To me, it just. I mean, let's be real here, guys. These are QSI sounds. The sound quality from these sound a lot like QSI, and this is the kind of sounds they would have on their O scale models, and the sound quality during the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s. You know, it's outdated, and some of these sound files are newer and different, but they sound very familiar and rather pretty much the same kind of poor quality, in my opinion. It's just not something that I can't really say is really good, if any at all. Some people may disagree, and that's good for them. Smoke unit does work. All smoke comes from the stack. I didn't show it, but it does work. But I will not be keeping it on, and eventually it will be taken out. In terms of detail, the model has a good amount of detail. However, this is an old tooling. This tooling's been through 5 generations, if not more. I do not know if they made a blue line model, but all I know is that there was a PCM. I'm not sure if there was a Paragon 1 version. I could be wrong. So that'll be 2. Paragon 2, I believe, had these as well. Paragon 3, of course, and Paragon 4. So we got blue line, possibly Paragon 1, or PCM, Paragon 1, Paragon 2, Paragon 3, Paragon 4. Pretty much, you know, the whole shebang of 5 runs. Maybe more or less. So, nothing really has much changed since PCM days in terms of tooling, which is fine. The model's a pretty good rendition of the model. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. However, I do not like that the pilot wheels are not painted. They should be painted like the driver wheels. This is a premium model. People are spending around $400, $350 to $400 for these models. They should have painted wheels. If you're gonna say you're a premium, you know, industry-leading company, you need to act like that, you know, and show it. You know, you can't just say it and then, you know, just not give it. In terms of quality of the drivetrain, it's pretty good. Something's wacky with the decoder, and to be honest with you, and I believe I put it into switcher mode, and that's why it's not making the right sounds, or the right buttons are not being activated, and it wasn't going as fast as it was going to. Because it was supposed to go full, you know, speed when I was going halfway around the layout, but it was just like, it was supposed to go full speed. This engine can go a lot faster, so I don't know what's going on with that. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to look at the instructions, or I'm just going to gut the decoder anyways. Other than that, I mean, there's no extra lighting features except the firebox, but I'm looking inside the firebox, inside the cab, and there's no LED activated, so I'm rather disappointed by that. What the heck, Broadway? I thought this was supposed to be a firebox flicker or something. I'm kind of rather disappointed, so that's a bummer. Ouch. I mean, what else is there to say? You only get really your headlight and your rear light, which is fine for a lot of people, but it's rather bare bones for what this model really offers. This is still a plastic shell model. Again, the driving mechanism is really good. I'm not worried about the driving mechanism at all. That's solid. However, the smoke unit has been seen to be quite a problem. I've seen other YouTubers who have the Paragon 4 T1 and its boiler was melting right here, and there was a lot of smoking problems with these smoke units. And it really is a shame because, smoke is pretty cool. I admit that. However, it becomes a hindrance when it does fail, and it can be quite problematic and possibly even worse. And it can be detriment to the model's reliability in the long run. So, for O-scale, it makes sense because you have the space, and a lot of local steam engines and models have die-cast boilers or, shells. So for HO, it's a little bit difficult. A lot of things are smaller, and there is technology there. There's such small smoke units you can put on everything, including N-scale, for crying out loud. But I feel like the quality of these smoke units are just terrible. It goes back even to Paragon 3, and perhaps even Paragon 2, if we want to go that far on certain models. But I have to say, there's a reason why I don't run my smoke units when I get Broadway engines and have their stock, electronics in there. It's just because of the risk of, damaging the model and having to send it out, or having to wait to get a spare boiler or something like that. And that's just a waste of time and resources, and really a waste of my time. Because people have to send out their models, and sometimes they have to wait out for 11 weeks to get their model back. That is ridiculous. This is not a car dealership. This is not like where it's going now, where people, buy Teslas. And I'm pretty sure people have seen, with Teslas, some of their parts are falling apart and they're only a couple years old, or they're not working, and they can't get the parts for them. And I'm not saying Broadway has this issue, but they have to wait for a long time to get parts to fix it, or they'll have a technician, take your car, and then what are you going to do? Where are you going to go to work? This is a model, so it's obviously different, but it's taken my joy out of the model, and it's a waste of money. I mean, yes, but it's a waste of it's a waste of money for the model, not so much as a waste of money for a service if it's under warranty still, under a 1-year warranty, which is, it's more like a 1-year warranty for Fiat is really what it is. Anything that's a Fiat car might as well have a 1-year warranty, because they'll probably break before the 1 year's even done. And that's just disappointing. Electronics, I'm not a fan of Paragon, guys. That's just the thing. I mean, the Paragon 4 Dakotas are better. Don't get me wrong. It's just, it's not the same as TCS or ESU in the slightest. So there's another whammy. Details are fine. They're great for what they are. It's just that it's lacking in certain areas. And, there's not a lot of lighting features. And yes, it's around $350 to $400 for a steam engine. However, when you have something that can brake like this, the quality's going to really hurt the rating on this. And with that, I'm going to give a rating of this model a 5 out of 10. Honestly. It's just what it is. It's a 5 out of 10 model. It's okay. It's not good. But it's more like fine. It's a fine model. It's okay. It's not terrible. If it was a 4, that means there would be something else going wrong, like shorting or something because of the design of the frame or whatever. It's just that's just what it is at that point, And I'm leaning towards a 6 more than a 4. So it's closer to a 6 than a 4, but it's a 5. And it really speaks well to the model in terms of, there's a lack of features, lighting features. The shell is mainly just black, and there's unpainted pilot wheels in terms of details. And it's cool, got a cool swinging bell, I like that, it's pretty cool. But there's no lighting cab features, there's no firebox flicker, even though there's supposed to be an LED that works in there. And it's cool that the cab vents, open and close. It's pretty cool. There's no marker lights, but I don't know. I don't think the Reading T1s really had marker lights, as far as I can tell, unless they're part of the tender or something. I know you can't see because it's dark, but again, this is a model that doesn't have a lot of detail that you can see. And it doesn't show the Iron Horse Rambles placard up front or anything like that, or Reading. I don't know, This model did come out right before, summer before the real 2102 came out, and got restored to operating conditions. So yeah, it's just a shame, but most of the points, are really for the alright detail. This is a nice looking model for a Reading T1, and there's only the Reading T1 you can only get in brass. No other company makes these Reading T1s besides brass companies that are older. So this is as best as you're gonna get, and even then, it's there could be a little bit better details. There could be some more going on here. And what's carrying the weight for it to be a 5 is around 3 points for the mechanism. The mechanism is pretty solid. I haven't had any derailments running this train at this locomotive at the club, and even here my layout. So that just seems what Broadway seems to be getting right now is the mechanism, except maybe the Blue Goose, which I'm not gonna get. It's not what I want. So you're most likely not gonna see a review on that one. So, yeah, that's all I have to say, guys. It's a nice locomotive. It's great that it exists. However, Broadway can do better, and it's a shame that this model had so many issues. If you've seen videos and pictures and photos and all that stuff, it's not that great with the melting boiler, and that's why you go on Facebook and you try to convince Broadway with their recent feedback system and say we need either DCC ready or you need to choose TCS or ESU in the long run. Alright guys, that's all I got to say for this in-depth review for the Broadway Limited Imports Paragon 4 Reading T1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Pensy Joe signing out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.